Good morning, Spiritual Life Center. Welcome to the SLC Sunday Experience. We have a dear friend with us on the platform today, Dennis Kane.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good morning.
And if you come to our Good Friday drama, then you will also know that he's famous for being Pontius Pilate as well. So we're going to sing our welcome song together. And here we go.
I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here.
I'm in the right place
At the right time, I am just where I am meant to be. I'm in the right place at the right time. I am just where I am meant to be. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. Oh, my soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome here. 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 I am getting the message loud and clear. My soul is welcome.
Good morning, Reverend Deborah.
Good morning, Reverend
I'm
James.
so glad that you're here, as you're welcome here, as is everyone else this morning.
That's right, and it's a beautiful, sunny, not too hot day so far.
It's early.
It's early. And we greet you now in the name of all that is good, all that is sacred, and all that is holy. And in the warm and loving energy of this ministry, Spiritual Life Center. And if this is your first time with us here or love streaming online, we especially want to welcome you because we know that you are not here by accident. Because we know that we are all here by divine appointment. And we're just thrilled that you're with us today. And we'll also be really thrilled if you turn off your cell phones.
And as we recognize and remember why we are here, remember that we're here to have that transformative experience as we love and we pray and we remember. And we take a moment to commune with this presence, this power, this love that is always there for us. And as we open up and make it the activity of our awareness, something begins to happen. We begin to see as the Spirit of God sees. We begin to see our life and our world from the highest point of view. And as we make that the activity of our consciousness, we move from where we are to where Spirit sees us at our highest and our best. And not only are we transformed, but we bring this transformative energy everywhere that we go. And even if we do nothing on the outer, because we're bringing this dynamic energy of Spirit, we begin to see that being pictured out in our world. So remember that each of us are blessed and a blessing as we go forth multiplying the all good. And this is the presence of God that is working within us, and we're grateful for that. And we say so in the name and the nature of the Spirit of God as we go forth, being those expressions in our world. Amen.
Well, Wednesday, this week we have Tess Kian, and she is a certified hypnotherapist, and she's going to talk about, well, we're calling it Sitting Down Deeper, the spiritual aspects of hypnosis. And she's going to talk about it, but she's also going to take us through an experience of hypnosis on a spiritual, as a spiritual discipline, and you'll be able to walk away with a way to do it yourself. So join us. Salad at 6, and the event starts at 7.
Sounds like a very mystical experience. And speaking of mystical experience, we're having a mystical cafe announcement. And I'm going to have RJ come forth and share something about that and give you the details.
I have a feeling I will be singing. So this time around, there may be something on the screen soon, there may not. But this time around, it's guys with guitars. We have 6 amazing guitarists. Hold your applause. Let's get through some names here. We have Chris Enright. We have Reverend Dave. We have Alan Klein. We have Michael Rogers. We have John Merriman. And we have Steve Sullivan. Applause now. Yes. This is going to be a lovely night. Now, this room, when we make it into the Mystic Cafe, the room only holds 120 people, and 30 spaces are already gone. So let's acknowledge George Peckham for buying the very first ticket. Let's acknowledge Tom Chrisman for being our caterer. One of our guitarists is in the house. There's Michael Rogers. Hey, let's talk about Robin DeLong. Robin DeLong has underwritten the entire cost of putting this event on. That means that every ticket sale goes to Spiritual Life Center to raise abundance for us. We're going to raise over $3,000 in one night. But I think it's time for a song. Not long from now, and it's not far away, you'll fall in love with them, but there'll be no second show. And their guitars will sound so sweet and clear, and you'll be very near, but it's not radio. Don't you remember you told me you'd buy a ticket? Send your money in the mail now, grab a stamp and lick it. Better yet, see you in the courtyard with cash or credit. We love you, we really do.
And that's only the beginning, folks.
And a really hard act to follow. So on June 17th, we're having a community spring clean party. And if you've noticed, there's some loving hand marks on the wall. There's a few other things that need to be taken care of. And so there'll be painting and landscape work and cleaning up the kitchen and lots of opportunities to help us all become more mindful and involved with our community. So I believe that there's a sign-up sheet out in the courtyard, and there's categories, so you can choose what you want to do. That's June 17th.
June 17th. And speaking of other things coming up soon, if you're ready to stop doubting your greatness and start living, who you really are, we have a great class coming up. And we're going to have Celia, who's going to be co-facilitating that with me. And it's called... Oh, okay. Just giving you a forewarning. To be forewarned is to be forearmed, as they like to say. So, Celia, we're going to talk about you are a badass.
I've heard through the grapevine that last week when James said the word badass, it was like the word heard around the world.
It was heard around the world.
On live streaming, you could actually hear everybody going, "Oh my God, what did he just say? Is everything okay? What?" Badass is this term where everyone's all like, "Oh, is that actually good or bad? We don't know." And I take it as a term of endearment because I used to play roller derby, and being a badass is that scary woman, but really, truthfully, being a badass is just as cool as making the perfect tulip. Seriously. Follow me here. I promise it's getting better. The author, Jen Sincero, she used to be a punk rocker and was having a really hard time in her life. And she was like, man, so I've got this really great, amazing stage presence, but when I go home, I'm broke. I have ramen as my dinner. And my love life sucks. And what can I do? And she spent countless thousands of dollars going to courses and coaches and trying to figure out what it was to make her into what she wanted to be, because she felt like there's this amazing person inside of her, and it wasn't really what she was living. And it was when she discovered spirituality, actually, that she really started understanding what you needed to do to make yourself a true badass. And now she has these amazing books that literally, truthfully, are absolutely amazing and super funny. And she's traveling the world. She's doing everything that, at the time that she thought to herself, I need to make a change, she had no idea where she was going. It was spirit that showed her where she was going, what she was going to be, and now she is so freaking happy. So freaking happy. So, really quickly, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you a little bit of the book to kind of give you an idea of what to expect during our workshop, which is going to be so much fun. We're really going to be able to tap into what it is that maybe you want to do with your life and what you can do to become the inner badass that you are. So this is a quick excerpt. This is about getting mighty clear about what makes you happy and what makes you feel the most alive, and then creating it instead of pretending you can't have it, or that you don't deserve it, or that you're greedy. It's about having the cojones to show up as the brightest, happiest, baddie-ass version of yourself, whatever that looks like to you. The good news is that in order to do this, all you need to do is make one simple shift. You need to go from wanting to change your life to deciding to change your life. Wanting can be done sitting on a couch in your PJs. Deciding means jumping in all the way, doing whatever it takes, and going after your dreams with the tenacity of a dateless cheerleader a week before prom. So the short of all of this is that Thursdays beginning July 20th, we have this great workshop starting at 7 p.m. It's about an hour and a half. And right now we actually have an early bird special, and today is the last day. The class normally costs $97. However, today you can get it for $77. And so if you're thinking of making any changes in your life, if you're wanting to become more prosperous, if you are moving, if you want to change careers, this is the course for you. Thank you.
Celia. Celia. The Slice Girls came up with a new title for all of us. We can all become badassadors.
I would say only at Spiritual Life Center.
Boy, I guess. And so now I'd like to introduce some very important people in our community, our ambassadors and prayer chaplains. Would you please stand? Now, I think of these people as our connectivity experts. The ambassadors wear the rainbow ribbon, and they are here to offer warm welcome, answer your questions, and point you in the right direction on how you can connect with our activities, programs, and each other. And then our chaplains are here to hold us all in confidential prayer during our human experience of joy and of challenge. And they wear the white stoles, and they are here to help you reconnect with the divine, and will be in the sanctuary in the courtyard after the service.
And if you're here for the very first time, we have a welcome card for you. It's a great way to connect with our community. You can fill it out and drop it in the offertory basket or at the welcome table in the breezeway. And some pretty nice gifts that we'll have for you when you turn in that card. And the welcome table is a place where you can connect with a friendly face and give you some information about our community. So if anyone's here for the very first time, would you mind raising your hand? Any first timers at our early service this morning? Well, as I like to say, if you're not new as a first timer, you're a new person today, because if you're a little different today than you were yesterday, you're a new being. So greet the person and say, you look new today. And it's so great to have you here at Spiritual Life Center.
Oh, don't sit down. We got a little more fun to have here. So, I just want to tell you, first of all, if you look for the lyrics in your bulletin to this song, you will not find them. So just keep your eyes on the screen unless you already know it. Now today, we're going to hear a message from James about removing the blockages, getting out of your own way. And we all know, and we hear often enough, the biggest thing that gets in our way is fear, right? So we're going to go ahead and feel that fear, and we're going to do it anyway. You ready for some? One.
I feel the fear and do it anyway.
Myself what I can't do, what I should have done, what I'll never get to. I remember that it just ain't so. This fear has got to pack its bags and go.
That's right. Hit the road, like, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, like, and don't you come back no more. What I say? Hit the road, like, don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, like, and don't you come back no more. Right here, right now, I'm free, so free. I feel the fear and do it anyway.
All right. So now that we got all that fear and lack out of the way, we can firmly and boldly state our vision statement together. Spiritual Life Center is a loving, vibrant family that welcomes home all people and accepts everyone, no exceptions. Weaving ancient spiritual traditions with emerging wisdom, we cultivate a spiritual deepening with the divine, each other, and our planet. And now we're going to sing a beautiful chant by Melissa Felipe, who, by the way, will be here on the 25th of June to share music and message with us.
In your eyes, it's me I see. There is only one of us. You are my reflection. There is only one. There is only one of us. In your eyes, it's me I see. There is only one of us. You are my reflection. There is only one. There is only one of us. In your eyes, it's me I see. There is only one of us. You are my reflection. There is only one. There is only one of us. In your eyes, it's me I see. There is only one of us. You are my reflection. There is only one. There is only one of us. In your eyes, it's me I see. There is only one of us. You are my reflection. There is only one. You are my reflection. There is only one.
The Mahabharata is the longest epic poem known to man. This ancient Sanskrit text is so vast that the entire sacred book of the Bhagavad Gita is only one small section of it. The poem explains its own origins as a collaboration between a human artist and a god. Its author, Vyasa, felt a calling to bring all the world's spiritual knowledge into written form. And to complete this amazing task, he asked for help from Ganesh, the Hindu deity who is worshipped as the remover of obstacles and who graces our altar today. Ganesh recognized the poem's importance to humanity, but he also knew that humans can stumble over obstacles like doubt, procrastination, or fear. So Ganesh agreed to write down the entire Mahabharata as Vyasa spoke it aloud, on the condition that Vyasa created the entire poem in one sitting and never stopped. If the artist ever gave up, God would give up too. Vyasa agreed, and human and God together stretched themselves to their limits to create this masterwork. Ganesh wrote so quickly that he broke all his pens, but he simply snapped off one of his elephant tusks, dipped it in ink, and kept on writing. Together, the human and the divine manifested a poem that has influenced culture for millennia and inspired the philosophy of some of our greatest leaders. And I submit to you that God is just as devoted to your goals as Ganesh was to the Mahabharata. Let's use these next few moments of meditation today to connect with this divine creative support. I invite you to close your eyes if it feels appropriate and to breathe deeply. Focus on your breath, moving in and out of your chest, expanding your heart. And now, bring to mind a goal that you intend to achieve. If you feel there are any obstacles keeping you from this goal, let the story of Ganesh inspire you. Trust that God has infinite resources available, and together you can achieve anything. The divine invests in your success because God knows that your health, your happiness, and your creativity will bless the entire world. Invite the divine to partner with you on your goal. Now, as we take a few moments in the silence. Take a moment now to affirm your dedication to your dream. As long as you remain devoted, the universe will work with you, bringing the resources to make it a reality. And now, as we return from meditation, gently allow yourself to become aware of the noises in the room. And when you feel ready, open your eyes. And as you continue with your day, know that God is partnering with you every step of the way.
Come bring your broken wing, come dry your crying eyes. Lay down the burdens that you bear. Come home to what you know feels whole and true and right. Be still and feel this simple prayer. There is good here, and I'm willing to see it. There is good here, and I'm open to be it. Help my eyes clear, help my heart start to feel it. I'm willing to see it. No matter what you say, no matter how you fight, somehow you're drawn to what you hear. No need to justify or make it wrong or right. Let go and sing through your fear. There is good here, and I'm willing to see it. There is good here, and I'm open to be it. Help my eyes clear, help my heart start to feel it. So long the story held you down, down, down. Wake from your sleep now and turn it all around. Look from the shadow into the light and say, there is good here, and I'm willing to see it. There is good here, and I'm open to be it. Help my eyes clear, help my heart start to feel it. There is good here, and I'm willing to see it. There is good here, and I'm open to be it. Help my eyes clear, help my heart start to feel it. There is good here, and I'm willing to see it. There is good here, and I'm open to be it. Help my eyes clear, help my heart start to feel it. I'm willing to see it. I'm willing to be it.
Thank you, Dennis and Paula. That's okay. You're forgiven. Had one of those mornings this morning. I woke up like at 3 o'clock this morning. Couldn't go back to sleep. And first I was a little upset because, of course, the more I get upset, the less I went back to sleep. But then I had to realize that, man, while I was asleep, there was something that kept my heart beating while I was asleep. And I had something to be grateful for. So I got up and I just started singing out loud. Oh, what a beautiful morning. Oh, what a beautiful day. I've got a beautiful feeling. Everything's going my way. Changed my whole viewpoint of the morning. So I just got up and, started doing what I usually do, just a little bit earlier, and it was all good. And I kind of remembered that doesn't matter what circumstances we go through, that we have the opportunity to break through those things, to really live the highest and best that our life has to offer. And I remember when I was going through my own dark nights of soul many years ago, I was in a therapeutic community, a recovery center. And we had all of the people who were there that evening to meet one of the facilitators who was going to help us through our challenges. And his name was Ralph. I knew a little bit about Ralph after he came to share with us. And Ralph was an individual who went to Harvard, and he got kicked out, because he was part of that group that was experimenting with LSD. I think Ram Dass was part of that group as well. And we were sitting there waiting for him to come in, and all of us were kind of going through our stories as to why our life had gotten the way that it had. And so he came up, and he excoriated every single person in that room that night. He came from the old school of S training with Warner Earhart. So he was just blowing us away. But what he was doing, he was reminding us that we had all created our conditions based upon the stories that we had accepted in our own life. And something happened, at least for me, and I think a lot of other people in that room that evening. I realized that there was far more power within me than I had given myself credit. And what was happening is that I was really blocking my own good based upon the stories I had made up in my own life experiences. I think Ralph was in his full power that evening and had always been. I always learned a lot from him. And he ignited that same recognition within every single person within that group. And that encounter reminds me that all of us can be complete expressions of the presence and the power and the love of God. That is why we're here. Meaning all the presence and power is right where we are, and there's nothing missing within us. And anytime we have an insight, anytime we have those aha moments, anytime there's a new discovery that takes place within our soul, we're affecting simultaneously every single person in this room. We're affecting the entire city of Sacramento. We're affecting this nation as a whole, just sitting in our seat and rising up to our possibilities. I think as spiritual beings, we go beyond time and space. My son wrote a letter to himself. He just graduated from high school this week, and he wrote a letter to himself 4 years ago. And he went beyond time and space. I didn't know. He was 14 at the time. I didn't know anything about the letter. He just showed it to me recently. I share a little bit of it at the end of the service. But I think because we're dealing with a spiritual realm, because we're dealing with consciousness, what we're doing, we're preparing what I call a vibrational step ladder for those people who are getting up late this morning, even in this community. They may be still in bed. And they may be scratching their head thinking, I should be going to this place called Spiritual Life Center. I don't know why. You're sending out some vibes to them right now. Because we realize that we're not here to take in vibrations. We're here to radiate them into our world. We realize that, circumstances, situations don't determine our ultimate experience. They don't determine our perception. They don't determine our point of view. They don't determine our destiny. I think such people believe that are living life from the outside rather than from the inside out. But that's not our lot. And that's why I believe that great avatars such as Jesus always talked about the idea of addressing our inner life. I was outside the country traveling a while, and there was a bunch of guys there who were from Morocco, and they were all, I think they were Muslims, and, they were curious about me and this thing called Unity and New Thought, and they asked me this question, are you a Christian? And I kind of knew what was behind that because they didn't want to hear that, they were going down this wrong path, and as a result of that, they were going to go to some fiery place if they didn't follow it. And my response to him said, no, I follow the teachings of Jesus. And he said, oh, you're a person of the book. A person of the book. I'm often asked sometimes, somebody who's new to this New Thought Ancient Wisdom teaching that we're a part of. What's the role of this person we call Jesus? And I realize there are two tracks when we understand what I call Yahshua ben Joseph, or also known as Jesus. There's a tendency that tends to worship the person, the man, the personality. And then there are those who practice the teachings that he taught. And sometimes there are different directions that they take us in. You know, because Jesus wasn't into guru worship. One time there's a statement in there, somebody said, good master, and he said, why callest me good? There's only one good. That is the presence of God. That is the true power. And there are individuals who deify the individuals, and then those who try to put into practice what he taught. And as part of this teachings, the wisdom teachings and this interfaith teaching, we're really here to affirm all spiritual paths that fall into that category, that loves the individual, that loves this person, that loves what he brought. But we want to practice those spiritual ideas that he showed, so that demonstrated that he was an example. He was a shining example of the next stage of our evolution. He was not the exception, although he was exceptional. But he was an example of our possibilities. And I think we're here to live up to our possibilities, but in order for it to do that, we have to get out of our own way. Sometimes we may think we have something special, or there's something special or that people have other than us, and there's something outside of ourselves blocking us. But as this master teacher said, that the enemy is always within our own household. Or as Ziggy would say in the cartoon, he said to God, God zapped my worst enemy, and Ziggy got zapped himself. You know, Ralph Waldo Emerson said something to the effect that we want to remove the bloated nothingness from the divine circuits so that they may flow. The bloated nothing is all the angst, the anxiety, the fear, the doubt, the worry that we want to get out of our life. That's the bloated nothingness. It was mentioned that fear is one of the things that kind of blocks us, and I think we all have those experiences from time. Well, no, not at you all. You know, this is a special group, but you know people like this. But I remember that I was watching a story that was Will Smith, the actor, was talking about the time that he had to break through, you know, what fear was for him. And he was out one evening, you know, he had a few drinks with his buddies, and they were, I don't know where they were. They were somewhere in the world where he goes. I don't know where they hang out. And they all got together and said, you know, we're going to skydive tomorrow. And everybody said, yeah, man, we're going to go skydiving tomorrow. They were all fired up about it. And then he got home in his room, and he broke out in his cold sweat. And he was thinking, well, I hope they don't show up tomorrow. But he got up that next morning, and he showed up, and everybody was there. And they got like 14,000 feet into the sky, and he said that in the plane there's some lights, there's red, yellow, and green lights. And when the light turned green, they were going to have to get up and jump out the plane. And when the light turned green, he said, the door opened up. And he said, uh-oh, I have never been in a plane in which the door was open before. And he said he sat way into the back of the plane. And he had his partner that he was with at the time, and, you know, I guess they strapped him in, and he was kind of sitting on his lap, and he said that was kind of weird. He was trying to make small talk with the guy that was going to guide him out, and he said, you know, I'm sure you've done this many times before, and do you have a family? I just want to make sure that you're serious about this. And so what happens is that they go up to the doorway, and he looks out the door, and he looks down at 14,000 feet, and all he could see was 14,000 feet of death. And he says that, you know, he said, well, you know, we're going to go on 3. And the guy said they would count 1, 2, and on 2 they would push him right out the door, because when they got to 3, most people would be holding on, not, you know, ready not to get out anymore. But he said at that moment of maximum fear, he said he got the greatest bliss in his life, the greatest danger, that he thought he had was at the point that he got the maximum bliss. And all of that time leading up to that, that fear was something he created in his own mind. You know, there was another movie that he was in. I can't even remember the name of it. I don't think it even made, it might have had a weekend or two. And he says to his son who was playing one of the parts, he said that fear is an illusion. Fear is not real. He said danger is real, but fear is something we make up based upon some future event that has not even taken place yet. And we don't have to allow that to take us over. And when we begin to get that out of the way, we get out of our own way about things that we've created in our own life that stop us from expressing the fullness of who and what we are. So we ask ourselves, how can we get out of our own way? That was one of the things that he mentioned. But we begin the awareness that our ego, which our unspiritualized ego, the ego is a good thing, is really an examination of unexamined perceptions. And then after a while, they start moving into our conversation. And those unexamined perceptions flow into our perceptions. And then they flow into our experience. We make all kinds of assumptions. You know, there was a story about two folks that were in the countryside, and they were coming in opposite directions in cars and had big hills. They couldn't see each other. And one was a man, one was a woman, and one was going in one direction, the east, the other was going west. And they came close to each other, like, they were scraping the paints off their cars. They were that close to each other. And the woman yelled out to the man, "Pig, pig!" And he was indignant about this whole thing. And he yelled back to her, "Cow, cow!" And then he turned and started driving and ran smack into a pig. He was making an assumption that had nothing to do with the reality. He was trying to get warned about what was ahead of him. How often we do that in our own life? We make assumptions about things. Oftentimes we have our own perceptions and assumptions, and we say, oh, life is hard until it's over. We can't win for losing. It kind of sneaks out of our mouth from time to time. We say, everywhere I go, nothing seems to turn out right. I take one step and the next shoe drops and it's a negative one. It just flows out of our mouth. Sometimes we have a co-conspirator to come along with us, to go into that negativity. When we say something like that, they start nodding their heads and say, yeah, I know what you're saying, man. And then if we get a group of people, we may have even a 4-part harmony choir to get together to bring the whole thing up into our awareness. And we start saying, everywhere I go, it's terrible. If I didn't have bad luck, I would have no luck at all. It may flow out of our life. Unexamined perceptions. What we want to do is look at those perceptions that we have accepted as our stories. And we challenge them, we confront them, and say, this is not true. Because we really begin to challenge these unexamined perceptions, then our life will change, because we realize that it's not the circumstances that really determine our direction, that we are the way. We determine our direction. And so to get out of our own way, one of the other strategies is to have some kind of vision for your life. Sometimes it starts with the day. Sometimes it just starts for the next hour. What's my vision for the next hour when we're going through challenges? But sometimes the day, the week, the month, and ultimately our life. Because all the exemplars, all the models that we look at that walked the planet gave us possibilities of high visions for our own life. And we begin to feel our way into that high vision state and why we are here on our planet. In the moment that we're in vision state, 51.1% of the time, there's a momentum that begins to carry us. And we're constantly thinking about that vision. Even if the facts seem to stop us along the way, that don't seem to make it possible. Because our vision starts to pull us forward. We start getting involved in it. I was sharing, that my son said that, the last week of school, after they'd done all of their exams, they would have these I guess it would call senior seminars. They weren't classes, but they would bring people in. They talk about different things. They would bring a lawyer in and talk about, the top 15 Supreme Court cases that ever took place. Somebody came in and did a lecture on car maintenance, and somebody else did something on financial literacy. Someone else came in and talked about hobbies, even taught them how to do knitting, which I thought was interesting. But he got into it. And there was someone who actually came in and talked about the power of visualization. And for the kids as they were going forth into the next stage of their life, and how they can begin to not let anything block them and to begin to visualize what they wanted in their life, not what they thought they could have, but what they really, really wanted. And I was thinking, man, if I was a young kid like that, I wish I had that in my life. I'd be so much better off than I am today. Not that I'm saying I'm complaining about anything now, but life is good. Sometimes people think they have a vision, but they're talking about what they don't want in life. They'll tell you what they don't. I was in a workshop once, and the facilitator wanted all of us to come up with our own visions and what we wanted to have and craft that, and he talked about it. But one person got up in the middle of the workshop, was sharing, and said, well, I don't want to grow up to be like my dad. I don't want to grow up to be like my uncle. I don't want this to happen to me. I don't want that to happen to me. And the facilitator said, well, you can speak very eloquently about what you don't want to happen. But what I'm asking you, what do you really want to happen in your life? And not limited to what you think you can have. He said a lot of people don't even know that, and that's why they're silent. They're so busy trying not to be something. So they don't even see that which they're trying to become is already within them. They don't see it. They can't describe it. They can't even feel it. But we want to move into vision state and not be limited by the seeming obstacles or the hindrances that seem to be before us. And we want to affirm that I am an individualized expression of the presence of God, and there's something within me waiting to get out. And sometimes what we have to do is act as if. Even if we're not fully believing it, act as if, and then we begin to have it show up in our life. And we begin to move through the seeming things that are blocking our way, because once we start getting into that groove, into that vibration, into that energy field, it moves us beyond what the obstacles are. Move in the vision state. And then there's another thing we want to do to get out of our own way. It's like to let go for dear life. Now we hear people say, hold on for dear life, but really we want to let go for dear life. And I recall a story about some bushmen in the desert. In this particular desert, there was practically no water to be found by human beings. It was basically non-existent. But there were some baboons in the desert who had some secret places where there was water. And the tribesmen, but they wouldn't let anybody know where this water was. They were really pretty selfish about the water. They held it to themselves. But the tribesmen knew that the baboons knew where the water was. And this particular tribesman, when he go on a hunting trip, he had to find some water. And his way of finding water was to watch the baboons and figure out what they did. But but the baboon wasn't showing where the water was. So he had a trick. And they had these big, called ant hills, in the desert. And he built a hole in the side of the ant hill. And then what he'd do, he'd take some melon seeds and he'd stick it through the hole and let it drop down. And all the time, the baboon was watching this. He was very, very curious about what was going on. And after the tribesmen would move away, the baboon would just kind of watch there because he wasn't trusting anybody. But when he thought it was safe, he'd go up there because his curiosity got the best of him. And he stuck his hand through the hole to go after the melon seeds. And then when he grabbed the fist to get a fistful of melon seeds, he couldn't pull his hand out anymore. And he was stuck. And so what the tribesmen would do, once he was stuck, he'd go over there and he'd kind of put a rope around him and tie him up to a tree. And he would give the baboon what they call some salt tablets. And to the baboon, eating salt tablets was like having a bunch of candy. And so he would eat the salt tablets, And after a day, the baboon would get very, very thirsty. And so he would walk up to the baboon, let him loose, and he wouldn't care anymore whether or not anybody knew where the water was. He would go darting off directly to the water, and the tribesman would run right behind him, knowing that when he was going right to the water, he would find the water. Anyway, I thought that was a fascinating way to find out water. That's why I told the whole story. But the point of the matter was that the baboon stuck his hand in the hole, and if he really wanted to get free, he had to let go. But he refused to let go. And so he got caught. He got put in jail temporarily for a day or so. So we want to not do like the baboon and hold on. We want to let go for dear life. Let go for dear life. Because all spiritual growth and development and unfoldment is about letting go of something. And we want on a daily basis to let go of animosity, to let go of resentment, to let go of unforgiveness, to let go of blame, to let go of shame, let go of misperceptions. All of the ways that no longer serve us. We want that to go away and let go for dear life. And something begins to happen. We begin to discover an inexhaustible good. We begin to discover an inexhaustible power and energy and vitality and magnificence. And we can never exhaust it. It is always there. It's like electricity. We can burn out a few bulbs from time to time. Electricity just standing there and saying, what? What? I'm still here. We put a bulb in, it'll shine through. We don't care how big the bulb is. It's saying, I got some luminosity for you because there's so much there for us. The presence of God is all around us. The presence of life and luminosity and infinite supply is all around us. And it's saying, what? Get your bloated nothingness out of the way so the circuits can flow through us. So give me a channel big enough and I'll change the world, it's saying. Give me an instrument strong enough and I'll transform the globe. Give me a group of people bold enough and I'll change the soul of a nation and the planet in which we live. The light is saying, I want you. And I think we're here to be bold enough and courageous enough to be prosperous and healthy and creative and resourceful out of the image and likeness and out of God. This is who we are. So we use that I am, as I mentioned a few weeks ago, to demonstrate the truth of who and what we are. And if we start using the I am presence, that attaches words, anything less than a child of God, as I like to say, we think of Popeye. Popeye used to say, and I'm not talking about the chicken. Not good for you. But Popeye would say, I am that I am. I know what I am. I'm Popeye the Sailor Man. Now, I know it's really corny, but you'll remember how to attach the I am to words that uplift us and move us to the next possibilities in our life. So there are no obstacles other than what we create. I'm going to ask my son for forgiveness now before he gave me this letter. He decided I could share it, but I'm going to say some of it anyway. But 4 years ago, when he entered ninth grade, he wrote a letter to his future self. 4 years later. Like I said, if I had that kind of insight, that would be awesome. But I got to put on my reading glasses to read this. And he said something to the effect, hello, future me. I'm writing this letter wondering how you are. What has happened in the almost half decade since you were me? I have finals tomorrow and would much rather study than to talk to you, but I have a feeling you'll enjoy reading this. And he asked, how is the president? I don't know whether there's any prescience there or not. How is America? What are the next winning lotto numbers, assuming that time machines exist then? And if they do exist, how come you haven't visited me? Even though we will probably never meet, I feel like I know you. It is almost like we are the same person. I guess technically we are, but are we really? Then he puts a parenthesis, brace yourself, this is about to get philosophical. You have 4 more years of life experience than I. You have 4 more years of movies, video games, schooling, testing, sleeping, studying, listening, talking, eating, and growing. I just hope that you have grown into a good person. Okay, I lied. The fact is, I don't know you. I don't know your passions. I don't know your goals. I don't know your vices. You are not the equivalent of me. You, the stranger, you are the shadow that hasn't been cast. You are the moon not yet lit by the sun. You are my future. Now, I may not know you, but I know me. I know that I'm coming alive through these words, even if it is for a second. I know I see a bright future for you, and I just need you to know that too. I need you to never give up and keep that passion burning for as long as there is hope to ignite. Anytime your life gives you trouble, just remember that I once existed. Jalen Mandela Trap, 14 years old, 15 next week. Bahamian, Floridian, Californian, Kansas Cityan, Jalen Mandela Trap. You know, the guy who took the time to write a letter to someone who will never write back. I'm running low on time, so I'll keep it short for you. Keeping me or whoever you want to be then, now. Do what you want, and in brackets, expletive. I think it do what you want, and screw everyone else who has a problem with it. Don't be a beta, be an alpha. I know you are. Keep it real, homie. From Jalen Trap 2014. He didn't let anything to block him or barrier him or hold him back. He was getting out of time, getting out of space, not limiting to the possibilities. And I just leave it with that. We just got to get out of our own way, and something will take over to move us from where we are to where we can be. Peace and blessings to you. That's what happens when you're up at 3:30 in the morning. You have some ideas start coming through. Change your whole talk. Well, we have an opportunity now to get into the flow of giving, using this principle of giving and receiving, knowing that whatever we give out comes back to us in so many ways. To support this community, support those that we tithe to really help us uplift ourselves in consciousness. And so with that awareness, let us say our offertory blessing together. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. Thank you, God.
That's usually me. I'm usually.
On behalf of John, relate.
Yep. Go ahead, count.
What if you knew that you were beautiful? What if your smile was wild and free? What if you knew that you could take your time and everything would turn out fine? What a wonderful, wonderful world this could be. What if every step of the journey was just as sweet as the final prize? What if you lost the map but you found the key? What if your life was so much fun you didn't need to try done. What a wonderful, wonderful world this could be. So give it a season without a doubt. Give it a reason to all work out. Give it a chance, give it some time, give it your best. Give it a rest. What if the great big picture suddenly dawned on everybody bright and clear? What if we gave ourselves a break and let our differences be? If we could just sit still a minute, enjoy the human race and not have to win it. What a wonderful, wonderful world this could be. What a wonderful, wonderful world this could be. Magnificent point of view, here in the middle of I love you. How simple, delicious, and brief, what a relief. What if the great big picture suddenly dawned on everybody bright and clear? What if we gave ourselves a break and let our differences be? If we could just sit still a minute, enjoy the human race and not have to win it. What a wonderful, wonderful world this could be. What a wonderful, wonderful world. What a wonderful, wonderful world. What a wonderful, 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 wonderful world this could be. It could be. Thank you.
What a wonderful, wonderful world it could be. What a wonderful, wonderful world it already is. We affirm it, we believe it, we live it, we experience it. We bless the tithes and offerings and also the ushers who have served as the ones to collect this offering today. Knowing He's going to bless the givers, He's going to bless the receivers, it's going to make a difference in our lives, in our world. And so it is, and so we let it be. Amen. And with that, let us sing our peace song. extended prayer for protection.